The Vought F4U Corsair was one of the best late-war aircraft of World War II, and saw significant service after the war, in Korea, and with foreign air forces. On film, the Corsair shows up in a mix of CGI and authentic aircraft, with over 40 airworthy Corsairs still flying today, and many more under restoration. The Corsair was in many ways the pinnacle of American World War II aviation. So let's take a look at why it was one of the best aircraft of World War II, and explore some of the movies it's been featured in. Though the Corsair first flew in 1940, it was only adopted in large numbers by the US Navy in late 1944. Due to early problems with carrier landings, it was actually first used by the US Marine Corps on land-based squadrons, where they developed a formidable reputation.
Danger is something you just learn to live with. The Fighting Black Sheep Squadron, pride of the Marine Corps, and terrors of the Pacific.
From the onset, the Corsair was designed to be big, fast, and heavily armed. It used the largest engine possible, a 2,000 horsepower 18-cylinder radial engine, which would receive further upgrades during its lifetime. This engine was not only powerful, but could withstand enemy fire, shielding the pilot from head-on attacks. To further utilize the power of this engine, a massive 3-blade propeller was used over 4 meters in length.
Well, I don't believe it. I just don't believe it.
Believe it? Will you believe it?
Not one of these birds got a hole in it.
When you're hot, you're hot.
The distinct inverted gull wings of the Corsair were designed in part to accommodate its massive propeller. The large propeller meant the nose of the Corsair had to be higher off the ground. By placing the landing gear right in the bend of the wing, the aircraft's nose could be lifted to an adequate height, while keeping the actual landing gear relatively short and sturdy to land safely on an aircraft carrier deck. Besides having a massive propeller, the nose of the Corsair was also extraordinarily long to accommodate the immense engine and an additional fuel tank between the pilot and the engine. Sometimes you'll hear the aircraft referred to as the Hog, due to its large nose.
Listen, I'm only telling the truth. You have got a very big nose. Hey, your nose is going to be 3 foot.
The large nose did make landing the aircraft challenging. The cockpit of the Corsair had an excellent view and a fantastic domed canopy for visibility. However, this didn't particularly aid in seeing past the nose. There's a full-length instructional video on landing the Corsair on YouTube, featuring RAF post-war Corsairs. It highlights the many challenges. Though carrier landings were largely perfected by late war, earlier difficulties were one reason the Navy adopted the Hellcat as their primary carrier aircraft. The Corsair size also made it a challenge to get in and out of. You can see John Wayne demonstrating the use of the spring-loaded doors in flying Leathernecks.
PFC. MPs?
MPs.
The Corsair experienced many refinements mid-war, which hampered production but resulted in a highly effective aircraft. It wouldn't be until 1944 that production of the Corsair would ramp up to a respectable 300 aircraft a month. The Corsair was an expensive aircraft, but a versatile one, and would be produced from 1942 until 1952 with over 12,500 aircraft manufactured, including several variants for foreign air forces. France was the last nation to receive them, who flew the F4U-7, which had an incredible payload capacity. This version can be found in War Thunder. Also check out France's version of Top Gun, titled Skyfighters, if you are interested in aircraft eye candy. It has an interesting Corsair scene. In World War II, the Corsair served both the British and American navies. Despite limited association with the European theatre of war, British Corsairs did take part in Scandinavian operations and flew in support of attacks against the German battleship Tirpitz. Of course, the majority of Corsairs would fly in the Pacific theatre by both British and American forces. In the Pacific, Corsairs ravaged the Japanese Navy and Air Force, with kill ratios of 11-to-1 versus the Zero. The Corsair outclassed the Zero in virtually all aspects. Corsairs had a standard of 6 50 caliber Browning machine guns, an armored cockpit, up to 2,450 horsepower, a maximum speed of 720 kilometers an hour, and drop tanks provided an incredible range of 2,400 kilometers, just slightly under the max range of the Zero. Though it should be noted, kill ratios at the end of the war were often skewed due to numerical superiority.
You know, it's too bad there's not a way to feather the prop when you chop the power.
Well, there ain't, Pappy.
I know it.
The Corsair's incredible power and robust design lent itself well to the fighter-bomber role, with the aircraft having an incredible maximum payload of 1,800 kilograms. The Navy greatly experimented with different loadouts on the Corsair, using high-explosive bombs, napalm strikes, and a number of different types of rockets, including glide bombs, which you can see being used in Battlefield 5. These allowed an aircraft to drop a bomb load far off from the target and remain relatively safe.
Cole, get your hands off my scarf.
There are several period movies filmed while the Corsair was in active service, or just near retirement, which showcase the Corsair's ability as a ground attack aircraft. Flat Top follows carrier operations and uses significant wartime and gun camera footage.
Man, will you look at that? What a beautiful sight.
The Flying Leathernecks is a John Wayne classic, following World War II Marine Corps aviators flying Hellcats, who eventually equipped the Corsair. The film uses a significant number of authentic Corsairs, along with other period aircraft. The 1,000-plane raid is probably the funniest use of a Corsair, as a Spitfire magically turns into a Corsair once zoomed in on the canopy. Just a funny nitpick.
Really, Commander, you ought to watch your flock a little more closely.
I said thanks.
Several foreign productions that feature the Corsair during the Korean War include Korean-made Tae Guk Gi, Operation Chromite, and from China, The Sacrifice. They all feature a significant amount of CGI, but it's interesting to see from a different perspective just how terrifying the Corsair might have been to those witnessing it from the ground. Probably the best and most famous series to ever follow the Corsair was Baa Baa Black Sheep, following the Black Sheep Squadron, which was loosely based on experiences of Marine Corps Major Greg Pappy Boyington. The show features a significant number of leased F4U and FG1 Corsairs, and North American T6 Texans filling in for Japanese aircraft. The show helped pioneer the use of helmet-mounted cameras, used by pilots. It's well worth checking out.
Oh, we'll be selling bonds all over the country. Pull your gun!
Alright, I'm Johnny. Thanks for watching this quick brief on the Corsair. Feel free to add any info on this great aircraft in the comment section, and I hope to see you in the next video.